Well, this is different. I'm going to ride a Moustache. And this is a Moustache Lundi 20. It is a very serious, very strong cargo bike, as you're about to see, because I'm going to make a very important delivery across Auckland City. Stay tuned for that. Right now, let's talk price and range. This beastie, it begins at $9,500, and for that, well, if you get the twin battery version like this one, you can do more than 150 kilometers on a single charge. Seriously, what more could you want in a delivery bike? But enough talking, let's crack into it. And we are off, and I won't lie, I'm quite nervous because I have quite a big load on the back and quite a long road ahead of me. I have a journey of just over 9 kilometers to get from here in Auckland Central all the way up to Royal Oak, which is where I'm going to be dropping off my very precious cargo of potatoes. Problem is, where I am right now in Auckland City, there are no cycle lanes, which will make things quite complicated for me. Tell you what though, aside from the horror of Auckland traffic, this electric motor is making quite light work of all the weight on the back, because it's quite a heavy bike, it's quite a wide bike, but so far so good. It's quite stable. However, it should be noted that where we are right now is the place of worship of the automobile. Auckland City, as you can see, is home to the car. There's not a lot of cycle paths where I am right now. Auckland does have some cycle paths, I should point that out, but not here. In fact, the area I'm going to, the area I'll be traveling through, on the cycle path map, it is a bit of a grey zone. There's basically just me and cars, which is not my idea of fun. I've got the bike switched into turbo mode right now, which does eat more of the range, but it makes it less effort for me. Now, I did have to check online that yes, I am allowed to ride in the bus lanes, but not the bus only lanes, but this looks like just a regular bus lane. Buses, bikes and motorbikes can ride in these okay, but I'm going to keep an eye out for buses because I don't want to hold people up. Oh, look at this, a little bit of cycle lane. Yay! Oh, that didn't last very long. People watching these videos in the past might say, oh Gav, you've always chosen the easy cycle paths, the easy way to get to your destination. Not this time, as you can see. This is what Auckland delivery drivers on bikes have to put up with. Oh, the torque in this electric motor is fantastic. We are flying down Grafton Bridge now. Can't drive cars down here anymore, but you can take bikes and motorbikes and buses. And once I get out of the city, I will tell you all about this bike, its features and the variations you can get. But right now, I'm in survival mode. Good to see more bikes out and about. I am a car guy, of course, but I do love riding bikes. And we're off. This bike is making light work of these hills. I love it. This is fantastic. One thing I've got to keep in mind though is this is wider than any bike I've ever ridden, so I have to keep in mind that I don't clip a car or a pole. Tell you what, it's just going up that hill so easily. I love it. Now I should point out, because there's no real easy set path, no cycle path to get to my destination, I can basically go anywhere I like. So I'm going to go anywhere I like. Almost out of Auckland. Look at this, we're already in Mount Eden. All right, now I'm going inland. Now the roads get narrow here, so it's going to be a little spicy. All right, I'm going to have to drop gears now. The interesting fact is this bike doesn't actually have gears. It has, the first time in my life I've ever seen, a CVT transmission, constantly variable transmission, on a bike. It's insane. It means that by turning the little knob here, got almost infinite adjustments of gear ratios to switch between. And even with more than 100 kilos on this bike right now, it's powering up that hill fairly effortlessly. If I was on a regular bike, I would be gasping for breath. Now, if you're watching this video from, say, Texas, you might be thinking, 9 kilometers, that's like 10 minutes. How hard can that be? Well, you may not be familiar with a thing called Auckland's geography. Auckland is situated on the narrowest part of the country. It's the most populous city in the country. And there are 53 volcanoes in that narrow slice of land. So it's very hilly, very windy, lots of harbours and bays and obstacles. It means that 9 kilometers can take a while because, as you can see, you're battling with space. It's a constant battle between bikes and cars. Who has priority? Conversely, if you're watching this in, say, Belgium or the nether regions, then you're probably laughing at our lack of cycle infrastructure. And while Kiwis, we do like to be quite critical of ourselves, we should take a step back and say that while where I'm going today may not have much infrastructure, where New Zealand has come in the last 10 years has been remarkable. We're getting there. We could at least pat ourselves on the back for that. And now that we've found ourselves a relatively calm slice of road, let me tell you about this bike and the different flavors it comes in. This is a Moustache Lundi 20. And while the name Moustache might be lost on me, the name Lundi is French for Monday, and 20 is the size of the wheels in inches. Now you might be thinking that 20-inch wheels, that doesn't sound very big and tough, but they are. Not only are they tough, but they're slightly smaller than the average mountain bike in order to lower the center of gravity so you're not so top heavy when you're hauling heavy loads. And this thing, it can haul heavy loads. Now I've only ever heard of GVWR, gross vehicle weight ratings, applied to heavy duty trucks and utes, but this one has a GVWR of 200 kilograms. A bike that can haul 200 kilograms. It's just amazing. So if you are an urban delivery person and you're tired of finding parking spaces or having to park on the footpaths, and then there's fuel and servicing and, gosh, parking tickets as well, then this could be the machine for you. Even for pizza delivery. Imagine how many pizzas you could fit on the back of this thing. You can fit 200 kilos of pizzas. As for the different flavors of this bike, there is the entry-level version that clocks in at $9,500. It's got one battery and a 10-speed chain-driven gearbox. Then, of course, there's the next one up, which is the same bike, but it has two batteries, so you can do twice as many deliveries. Then there's the third option, which is the Lundi 20.5, and this is where we start getting into the belt-driven system with the CVT gearbox, and that one has one battery. And then there is this one, the top-of-the-line one, which has two batteries, the CVT transmission, and all the other features you can think of. It's insane. The only downside is that this top-of-the-line one is spendy. It's $12,500, but keep in mind it is a complete delivery vehicle replacement. So before you write in the comments that, well, I've got a $2,000 bike and it works just as well, no it doesn't. It can't handle 200 kilos, it's not power assisted like this, and it doesn't have two batteries. This is a serious bit of kit. And look at the framework on this thing. It's got two solid rectangle chonks connecting the frames together. And you might be thinking, gosh, doesn't that make it heavy? No. If you look at this little cutaway section, it's actually a cylinder running down the inside with a thin sheath around the outside, all in an effort to keep weight down. It's a really intelligent bike. And by intelligent, I mean you can put all kinds of stuff on the back. It's got what's called a MIC system, M-I-K, which means it's got a fast release system on the tray on the back. It's extra long, so you can easily fit two child seats on the back, or you can attach an array of different baskets and carrier things on the back there. Oh, look at this, I've got a little mini cycle path. Now this cycle path is very handy, but it is very small, and this bike is quite wide. So, now there's a reason I put a camera on the back there, just to show you how tight the roads can be around here. I'm trying to give the cars behind me as much space as possible, as not to hold up traffic, and also to keep myself intact. Now if I do this right, I'm going to take a lovely scenic detour right across One Tree Hill. And while I settle in for a nice ride, let me do some narration to show you all the highlights of this piece of two-wheeled tech.
Yep, and it's definitely the most intelligently designed e-bike I've ever ridden. Everything from the massive pannier bag slammed down to lower the center of gravity, the strong hydraulic disc brakes, the center kickstand, which comes standard and keeps the bike rigidly upright when loading heavy items like potatoes or children. Then there's the high bar on the rear, which also comes standard, the heavy-duty cargo tires rated for heavy loads, and what makes the Lundi 20 stand out from all the other e-bikes is it's very strong. Seriously, this frame is harder than algebra, yet has the lightest weight in its class of e-bike. Special thanks must also go to ebikestudio.co.nz who loaned us this bike for this review. Seriously, check their website out, they have a wealth of similar cargo bikes for you to test and compare. And of course, it costs essentially nothing to operate. A full charge of the dual battery model costs barely 20 cents on the EcoSaver plan from Ecotricity, with Ecotricity being New Zealand's only certified climate positive power provider. Head to ecotricity.co.nz and with a few mouse clicks, your house, business and e-bike will be running off certified climate positive electricity, which, as you now know, is stupidly affordable because it's only from clean, simple renewables. So go to ecotricity.co.nz, switch over and leave the world in a better place for your loved ones. And speaking of a better place, I'd soon made my way into one of Auckland City's cleanest, greenest locations.
Now I can tell you about the motor output, which is propelling me along without me even breaking a sweat, despite all the weight on the back. It has a Bosch cargo line motor. It's designed for working hard. It can pump out 85 Newton meters of torque, and it can channel that all the way down the rear wheel through the intelligent belt drive system. And of course, it has a 250 watt rated motor. Combined, it means it can propel the bike, assist the bike, up to 32 kilometers an hour, which I think is more than fast enough when I'm carrying such precious cargo. One thing you do notice, I don't know if there's any bike people watching this, but one thing you do notice when you're riding a bike is how much more prolific the smell of combustion engines is. It's worse than secondhand cigarette smoke now, raw diesel smoke, but you don't really notice it when you're in a car. Exit to Manukau Road, that's where I want to go. Oh, look at that, this is much better. This is what riding a bike is all about. Fresh air, no emissions, apart from me. This is just effortless going up these hills. I caught myself, I'm smiling. Okay, I didn't expect that. I was not smiling when I left. Let me tell you a little bit more about the accessories now that we're in a nice relaxing environment. This thing has an AXA headlight on the front, which I used it last night in the dark, and it's actually very good. And the rear light, what's really interesting about that is that it is inertia driven. So the tail light comes on like a brake light when you're slowing down. Pretty cool, huh? I've never seen that on a bike before. That's what you're paying the big bucks for, that and the intense strength of the frame. All right, and we're back into the rat race. Actually, I want to be down that road, I think. Let's see if I can turn around. You can't deny this is a real world test. There's no cycle paths anywhere. Oh, do I dare route Royal Oak Roundabout? I fear I'm going to have to attempt Royal Oak Roundabout. Slightly terrifying. Okay, this is the first time in my life I've ever used Royal Oak Roundabout on a bike. I wish there was a cycle lane here, but let's see what we can do. Okay, so far so good. Indicate. Let's go around, change lane without indicate. I did it! I survived! And we're almost at the destination. This has gone a lot easier than I thought it would, even with the fear of dismemberment. All right, we're almost there. All right, I've got one last lungful of diesel and then it's done. Oh, that was not pleasant. And we have made it to the destination, the Salvation Army. Time to drop off my spuds. I've got 30 kilos of potatoes I'd like to drop off again. It is a very cool bike. It is a serious machine. All right, here's 20 kilos. I've got another bag.
Thank you so much.
No worries. Have a great day. You too. And there you have it. That is the Moustache Lundi 20 in action. It is a serious bit of kit. It's not the average weekend bike you buy for your kids. This is something you buy as a business expense when you want to deliver lots and lots of weight, and you want to do it easily. This is easy profit on two wheels.